UFC. It was a beautiful evening in Las Vegas, Nevada, as thousands of fans packed the T-Mobile Arena to witness one of the most anticipated UFC fights of the year. The stadium was filled with the sound of cheering and the aroma of popcorn and hot dogs. The stage was set for a battle that would go down in UFC history. The fighters for the main event made their way to the octagon. The first fighter was the reigning champion, Max the Maxinator Johnson. Max had won his last 10 UFC fights and had become one of the most dominant fighters in the sport. His opponent was a new contender, Jake the Snake Wilson. Jake was a young fighter, but he had proven himself in the UFC game with his impressive record of 6 wins and no losses. The referee signaled the start of the match, and the two fighters stepped forward to touch gloves. Max came out strong, throwing powerful punches and kicks at Jake, who was quick to dodge them. Jake was a skilled MMA UFC fighter and was well-versed in the art of grappling, so he was not intimidated by Max's aggressive style. The first round ended with neither fighter gaining an advantage. Max had landed more strikes, but Jake had managed to avoid any significant damage. In the second round, Max came out even stronger, but Jake was ready for him this time. Jake took Max down to the mat and managed to keep him there for the entire round, landing some ground and pound to Max's face. The third round was the most intense of the match. Max and Jake were both exhausted, but they refused to give up. Max landed a series of brutal punches to Jake's face, but Jake managed to take him down again. The crowd was on their feet, cheering for their favorite fighter. In the final moments of the round, Jake locked in a rear naked choke, and Max tapped out, signaling the end of the match. The crowd erupted in cheers as Jake was declared the winner. Max congratulated Jake on his victory and promised to come back stronger in their next UFC live match. The two fighters hugged in the middle of the octagon, and the crowd gave them a standing ovation. As the fighters made their way backstage, they were greeted by the UFC president, Dana White. "That was one of the best fights I have seen in a long time," said Dana. "Congratulations to both of you." As they entered the locker room, the fighters were greeted by their coaches and trainers. Jake's coach handed him a bottle of water and congratulated him on his win. "You did great out there," said his coach. "You deserve this victory." Max's coach also came over to him and patted him on the back. "You gave it your all out there," he said. "We'll come back stronger next time." The fighters then went to the post-fight press conference, where they were asked questions by reporters from all over the world. One reporter asked Jake how he felt about beating the most winning UFC fighter, to which he replied, "It's an honor to fight someone as great as Max. He's a true champion, and I'm just happy to have shared the octagon with him." Another reporter asked about the average UFC salary and how much fighters get paid if they lose. Jake responded, "The UFC pays us well, but it's not just about the money. It's about the love of the game and the thrill of the competition. As for losing, you still get paid, but it's not as much as if you win. But that's just part of the game." The fighters then left the press conference to celebrate their hard-fought battle. They went out to a local bar and had a few drinks with their friends and family. The end. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends and family. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more content like this. We'll see you in the next one.